Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are joining us on this call. It's a pleasure again to be here with you for the Power Platform track of 30 Days of Learning. Just in case you don't know who I am, I'm Japhlet Nwamu and I am a cloud advocate at Microsoft. Work with a team called the Next Generation Experiences team, and we are focused on helping students who are the next generation of developers to learn the required skills to be able to build solutions. This is a Power Platform track, and in the Power Platform track, we have had the opportunity of guiding you all through the amazing technologies that make up Microsoft's Power Platform. Just in case you don't have access to all of those amazing resources, we'll be sharing the link with you in the chat. So please be sure to check them out. They are amazing, they are packed with lots of great content that you should check out. In today's session, we will be connecting the dots as usual. We started connecting the dots right from Wednesday last week, and we talked about the different solutions that are part of Microsoft's Power Platform and how they all, connect the dots together. So, just in case you are not aware, I am Japhlet Nwamu. As I mentioned, I work with the Next Generation Experiences team here at Microsoft. While working on this Connect the Dots session, it reminded me of a quote by Helen Keeler, which I would always like to highlight. And that quote is, "Alone we can do so little, together we can do so much." Throughout the period of the Connect the Dots session on in the Power Platform track, we have seen how the different parts of Microsoft's Power Platform comes together to help us create amazing, beautiful solutions. In this session, I'm not going to, walk through all of the technical parts that we did. We have some amazing guests who have joined the stream, and I'll be bringing on board later to talk about how they have been able to connect the different parts of Microsoft's Power Platform in solutions that they have had the opportunity to build. But first, I would just like to go over a brief overview of what the solution we have been working on for the past few days have been all about. I would walk you through the problem statement, the solution, the technologies we used, how the technology works, and then I'll get to show you how the solution we built works. So first, the goal of the project we picked up for the Power Platform track in the 30 days of learning was to help make it easier for students and educators in most universities, lecturers or supervisors to be able to have better communication while students are working on their final year projects. So final year projects, for those of you who are not aware, are it's more of like a practical projects students have to work on during the final year of their stay in their graduate study, or it's a graduate study, for them to work on something practical and solve a very practical problem, see how they can come up with a solution. So the major problem was, a lot of times when students are available to reach out to their lecturers are busy, the lecturers are not able to communicate properly with the students. This was a problem that affected me, and I decided to bring it on board to also showcase it in the Power Platform track. Our solution makes it easy for students to be able to submit their project topics in real time, while the lecturers are able to see the topics that have been submitted by a specific student and can either approve or reject that project topic. Immediately the project topic is approved, the topic is submitted on in a database which the lecturer can always have access to, go back at any point in time and view. And then the student gets an email that tells him or her, "Oh, this is the project topic that your lecturer has approved for you," so the student can get started working on it. Microsoft Power Platform made it easy for us to do this without having to write any single line of code Again, if you love to see how we have been doing this, connecting this together using this amazing technology, check out the link that's currently showing out on the screen, aka.ms/30dl Power Platform Review. You will have access to all the past sessions. Microsoft Power Platform contains 5 technologies, but the 3 we used for this solution are Power Virtual Agents, which is a solution or a technology that helps us build bots that are intelligent, that can help us carry out conversations with the students. And then we have Power Apps, which is the more of the internal side of the solution, where the lecturers only have access to the application and they can view all responses. And then we have our automation tool, which is Power Automate. Besides that, we made use of different connectors that are over 500 connectors that are part of Microsoft's Power Platform. But for this specific solution, we made use of SharePoint and Outlook, which were our major connectors. Now, our solution is simple. First, students have a conversation with the chatbot. With the responses they fill in, they are able to select 3 topics of their choice that they would love to work on. And then those 3 topics are picked with the aid of Power Automate and submitted on the SharePoint list, which is acting as our database. Whatever response is submitted in real time on the SharePoint database, the lecturer picks them and can view them from the Power Apps application that have been created. Once he approves the specific topic through the Power Apps application, the student receives an email informing him or her of the topic that has been approved. We made use of the 3 major technologies, which I'll just be talking a little bit over. Power Virtual Agents helps us create intelligent conversation solutions known as chatbots. Aside the solution we're trying to relate it to, which has to do with your having conversation with students, you can also utilize it for whatever business solution you are trying to build. If you need to have conversations with your customers. An interesting part of Power Virtual Agents is we didn't have to write a single line of code. We just needed to understand what we are trying to work on, how the solution is going to work, and then build it. And we'll have the opportunity of connecting it to either Facebook, Microsoft Teams, and tons of other channels that so a lot of people, your customers, the people you're trying to reach out to, the students you're trying to reach out to, the university people you're trying to reach out to would have access to it. And it's external facing, so you don't need to give access to people to be able to utilize Power Virtual Agents. We also use Power Automate, which makes it easy for us to automate repetitive, redundant tasks. So instead of we having to take note of the responses, probably stored on Excel sheet, and then pushing them over, downloading them, moving them to SharePoint, we had to do all of those with Power Automate. And instead of every time a new response comes in, we pick the email address and send a mail to the person that has submitted that response, we had to automate it automatically with Power Automate. Best part of Power Automate was we did all of this without code using the amazing drag and drop tool that is in Microsoft Power Automate. An amazing technology you definitely should try out for any solution you are trying to build. And then the last part of Microsoft's Power Platform, which we use for bringing the solution together, was Power Apps. Power Apps, it's super easy for you to build applications and launch your applications without having to go through the long traditional way of pulling, pushing, and doing all of those reviews for your application. It was super easy. We did it within the period of time that we had to work on Power Apps. Bringing the solution together gave us the entire project we worked on. Now, at this point, I am going to walk you through the entire solution to show you what we build, the result of what we built throughout the 3 days of learning in the Connect the Dots session of the Power Platform track. First, when you head over to this page, we'll be starting off with the solution that we built with Power Virtual Agents. So for those who are not aware, first thing you would have to do is to create your Microsoft 365 developer account and your Power Apps developer plan, which will give you access to all of these tools for free. Again, the link to all of the resources, all what we have been doing for the past weeks is in the chat. Check it out so you don't you don't miss out on any of this, and you can follow along while I'm explaining all of this. So when I have created my Microsoft 365 on Power Apps Developer Plan, I head over to Power Virtual Agents. The link to access Power Virtual Agents would also share and be shared, and should be displayed, would be displayed in the screen. So you can also check Power Virtual Agents at aks.ms/connect PVA. Create your bot, and the bot we have created looked like this. We created topics for each of the specific activity we want the bot to carry out. So the first major activity we want the bot to carry out is for students to be able to submit their project topics. And if you notice in the topics, you have submit project topic. Here you have a list of how we designed it, so it follows a specific trend. What I'm going to do now is to share the link to this bot with you, and I would request that for those of you currently in this live session, please fill in your responses here so we can see how it works from you can see how it works from your end. So I just picked that link, and I would be sharing that with you all. So use that link to access the Power Virtual Agent bots that we have built, and then from there you can see your responses when we move over to our SharePoint database. So this can be fun. So while I'll be expecting your responses, I'll just show you what we did here. And for the submit project response entity which we created, topic we created, we already programmed it to have a trigger phrase. So when the user clicks a specific trigger phrase, what happens is that the moment the user does, it carries out the next process, which you can find beneath. So the next thing we want to do is to tell the user, introduce ourselves. And then once we have introduced ourselves, what happens next is that it goes over to, it says thanks for visiting the bot. What it does is, for verification purposes, it requests for the full name, it requests for the matriculation number, so the user doesn't just be from any university and have access to the bot, right? We want people who have access to the bot to be from the university or from the specific faculty that we created this solution from. And so to ask for the matriculation number, next thing to ask is for the user, for the student, to input their academic email address. Academic email address can be set in such a way that it is only people from that specific university or from that specific faculty that can have access to this solution. Once we have collected these responses for verification purposes, authentication purposes, we then move on to asking the user to input their project topic. The user can input 3 project topics. So once they have inputted the first project topic, it asks the user, why did you submit this project topic? More of like the reason, right? Reason for submitting this project topic. And then the next thing happens is it tells the user to input the second project topic, reason for submitting the second project topic, input the third project topic, and then the reason for submitting that project topic. at the end, just so it's sure that it is exactly what the user wanted, that the user had gotten or imputed. It tells the user, thanks for submitting these topics. Here are the topics you submitted. We made use of variable names to pick each of the responses that the student submitted at each point. So for topic one, you can see we have a variable name, and the variable name is displayed here. So what you should do is number one, whatever response the user imputed for topic one, whatever the response user imputed for topic two, and whatever response the student or user imputes for topic three. And then once the user it asks the user next, would you like to submit this topic? Once the user clicks yes, the topics are collected. And if you notice here, we created a Power Automate flow that picks each of those responses and pushes them to our our SharePoint database. But if the user clicks no, that means probably the user had made a mistake in one of the project topics, or probably wants to change the project topic. And so it goes back to the beginning to start requesting for the details again. Again, like I mentioned, you can check out this bot with the link that has been shared in the comment section of this stream that is currently going on. So use it to see how this solution works out. Now, for the Power Automate flow, we can see it here. And what we did was we had inputs and outputs. So for each of the inputs, basically some things that will be coming that the virtual agent bot will be collecting, and then what would it be returning. So these were the two things we included here. And then using all of these details, we connected it to our SharePoint database, which is here. So we created different columns on our SharePoint database. And then what we did was we had the separate columns, each a specific response imputed in each of the separate columns that were created, as you can see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to refresh the SharePoint database just to see if we have any new responses. So we have a response from Omoya, which is more of an addition. So next, whatever response comes here, when we come over to our Power Apps, I will just reload this. And then whatever happens to it, whatever response is submitted in the Power Virtual Agent bot, again, SharePoint Automate is picking those responses and pushing them to SharePoint in real time. And the moment it's pushing them to SharePoint, it's displaying from the lecturer's end in the Power Apps side of things, the Power Apps application that has been created, right? So we'll just wait for our Power App solution to be come up, and then we move on from there. Now, the next thing, while that is loading, the next thing I would like to show you is that we also created a situation whereby whenever a specific response, so if you go back to our SharePoint list, we had an empty spot, an empty column for approved topic, right? So this is an empty column. If you notice, the user does not pick this. The student does not have access to this. It is only the lecturer that has access to this, because the lecturer that would approve a specific topic. And so whatever topic the lecturer approves, so I'll just edit this so you can see it. Whatever topics the lecturer approves, immediately that specific column is modified on SharePoint, we automatically send a mail. This is just a simple mail. Again, you can adjust it to whatever suits you, but we'll just made it short. It sends it to the email address that has been submitted, and then telling the user this is your final year approved topic, right? And then it imputes the approved project topic. So let's head over here, and I'm going to show you. So I'll reload this. Sorry, let me play. So you can see the entire solution. So I'll keep reloading this. Now let's use Omoya's solution. And if you see, we can see the different responses that were submitted by Omoya from the Power Virtual Agent solution. Yes, I can see a comment in the chat what is the format for the matriculation number. So something I forgot to mention is because we wanted to restrict it to people from a specific faculty, we had to use PSC. So any number that starts with, sorry, any matriculation number that starts with PSC, which is the faculty our solution is built for, physical sciences, PSC, and then the matriculation number after that faculty code has 8 digits in front of it. So use PSC and then have 8 numeric digits after PSC, it would accept it. So if someone from, let's say, medicine comes over to the board and tries imputing their project topics, it would reject it, just as Samuel is trying to reject it, is trying to submit and it rejected it. Verification purposes, right? So the lecturer doesn't have too many responses to deal with. Thanks for bringing that up, Samuel. So now we have gotten the responses, and we just come over here and edit, so we can see the different responses that have been submitted by Omoya. But the next thing we want to do is so pushing this over. So let's take this out. And then let's play this again. So let's go back and let's open up this application again. So what is going to happen is that it's going to enable us to impute the specific approved project topic. And the moment we do, we can then move on from there. So I'll just wait for that to reload. Um, so this might take some little time. Great. And let's do this again. So let's play again. Oops, sorry. Sorry, cancel. And let's play again. Great. And we just head over to Omoya's response. And then when we click the pencil icon, um, oops, so I prompted to sign in again. So let's ensure this is properly signed in. Let's go over to our app section and open this up again. So just so it affects, all of those. Okay, great. So we can see a new response from Chino. And I guess this should be the right solution. So let's just go back and let's ensure this is the right solution we have opened up here. So let me just go over to aka.ms and sign in again. Sorry, connect Power Apps. Oops. aka.ms / connect Power Apps. And let's push that. Okay, let's open up from here and let's do that again. Great. So let's check out the app and try opening up from here. So we're opening this up. It's just prompting us to sign in again. Cool. So let's do it this way and let's see the responses that have been submitted. So I'll just edit the responses and I would be able to select the specific response that was picked by. So let's edit this. Come over here. And this coming up. So let's just make a few changes. I think we lost the last changes we made. So let's come over here and add the approved topic field. So let's add the approved topic field to this. And we can edit the text. So let's just do this again. Great. So now we have the different topics, right, that have been submitted by Chino. Again, let's save this Power Virtual Agent bot so it doesn't. So let's save and test. So when we run it, it goes automatically, right? Great. So this has been saved. So let's come over here. So I've seen the three topics that have been submitted by Chino. For example, introduction to electronics, introduction to power platform, and then we can see the reasons that have been submitted by Chino. I'm just going to select introduction to microprocessors as the topic, and then I would click this. So now let's go over to SharePoint and reload this. And you should find that there is an approved topic for Chino. So let's close this. Sorry. And let's check out Power Virtual Agents again. Great. So, okay. So sorry. So now you're approved. Let's do that again and let's see. Introduction to Power Virtual Agents and let's submit this. And let's try reloading this again. So what we're going to do this time is quickly check what might have happened to our solution. And let's see. Let's go over this again. Let's quickly check this out. Okay, so let's check the code for this. So it's submitting the forms, right? So I guess we should have a new topic that has been submitted here. Still not displaying. So I guess something happened to our code. Okay, so we can see that your flow ran successfully. Okay, so that means it worked. Chino, can you please help us confirm that it's you got the link? So evidently by now, Chino must have gotten the link to the power, to the mail that has been sent telling her of the approved project topic. So what I'm going to do now at this point is to test this from another. So I'll just open it up and test it so you all can like see how it works, right? So we can see how it works right now. So I have the link pasted already, copied in the chat. So I'll just copy the link out and paste it. This time I'm going to act as a user, and I'm going to quickly test this out. Great. So this is what you should be seeing. So let's just quickly test this in less than 2 minutes. Submit project topic. What is your full name? Steven. Matriculation number PSC 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. And then it puts email address Steven at let's do psc.com. Project topic 1, introduction to AI. Reason AI is fun. Right, so AI is fun. Um, and then let's build the next project topic, introduction to Power Platform. Power Platform is great. Next project topic, introduction to blockchain. Reason blockchain is cool. Right, so I'm confirming this, and you can see on Power Automate, our SharePoint list, we would find a new response, and the same on Power Apps. So you can see the new response has been submitted here. So this is a an overview of how the solution was created. And I guess by now Chino should have received the email that is informing her of um, the project topics that has been approved. So at this point, we have seen the amazing solution that we can build connecting different parts of Microsoft's Power Platform. Now, it's been amazing seeing the practicality of Microsoft's Power Platform. But like I mentioned earlier, I am not alone in this session. I have tons of amazing people who have also built solutions using Microsoft's Power Platform. And so for the remaining part of the session, I would be bringing these different people up to talk about the practical solutions they have built with Microsoft's Power Platform, and then be able to showcase, these solutions to you all if time permits us. Um, I'll be bringing up first Kolawole Ajiboye. Hi, Kolawole, can you hear me clearly?
Hi, Japhlet. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Yeah, so
Great. Glad to have
let's
you here with us.
thank you.
So Kolawole was one of the amazing mentors we had for the 30 Days of Learning program. He took us through the Power Apps track. Sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was Power Platform and Power Apps
You're
track,
correct.
right?
You're correct. Yeah.
Yes, great. And he showed us some of the amazing things we could do with Power Apps. So Kolawole, I know you have built some great solutions using Microsoft's Power Platform. I would love everybody that is currently joining this stream to also learn about the potentials of Microsoft Power Platform. So please, would you like to share it with us?
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. Yeah. So because of our time, I'm just going to be sharing just one of the applications. So my intention is to share one that has to do with human resource, right? Which include having different modules. When I say modules, I'm talking about having leave embedded in it, having loan embedded, also having appraisers and everything that has to do with human resource. So talking of Power Platform, I feel there is no limitation. I feel there is no limitation when it comes to Power Platform. in as much as you have a holistic knowledge of what you're trying to implement, right? But because of our time, I'm just going to be showing an application that speaks to a visitor's management application, right? Yeah, so basically, organizations try to track the number of visitors that comes into their environment, right? And at the end of the day, they want to know the type of activity that are being carried out by the the visitors, right? So that actually brought up the idea of coming up with a visitors management application. So basically, this is an application that is expected to be used by um, both visitor and also the host. So when I say host now, the host is the person that is within the organization, while the visitor is the person that is expected by any of the individual within the any of the employee within the organization. Yeah. So basically, what we have here is like if is a form where the visitor comes up to fill, right? Um, this is just generic. This could be redesigned based on what it's actually needed at any point in time. So it's expected that the person's first name is imputed, right? So I'm just going to be saying Kolawole is the visitor, and so there is a bit of validation here, which needs to confirm that everything
Sorry,
has been
Kolawole.
inputted.
Hi, Kolawole. Sorry, just bringing up your screen on the stream now. Wasn't that way you were sharing a screen?
Oh,
Okay,
okay.
great,
Okay,
great.
then let me go back to do that. So apologies for that. So what we're looking at is basically a visitors management application, and it has three modules. Basically, we have the visitors module, we have the host module, and also the admin module. So the visitor module is where you come in. So the idea is that it's going to be like a tablet or a PC that has this particular application loaded for visitors. So all they just need to is to have this screen up from their own end, right? They fill all this, and for instance, the organization they are coming from. Let's say I'm coming from Microsoft, and then my email, right? So the reason for my visit. So this is for now tied to actually you're coming for an official visit, you're coming for a delivery, or you're coming for an interview. And this can also be expanded based on the type of activity that are being carried out in that particular organization. So for instance, let's say I'm coming for a delivery, and so automatically we can have this date populated, picking the date, the date that the request is being initiated. So also as part of the form, the phone number is also expected to be imputed. While lastly, we have the host as well. So for you to for you to finish the initiation, for you to finish this request, you need to input the host. So in this case, I'll just be putting Kolawole as the host, and then if there are items to be carried out, um, you can then input them here, which is not required, right? So after which I submit, um, I can then go back. So there an email has been sent to the host where which brings up this kind of view, right? So here is like a dashboard to the host. So the host has the ability to check all the list of people that are actually coming to request. You can also filter based on date, but this might not really be necessary. For instance, someone um, actually requested for visit some time ago. You can just filter based on that, and also an enterprise search can also be done that filters all the requests, tying either your first name, last name, or organization. So what I'm trying to say is for this search to be effective, you either search the first name, the last name, or the organization where that person is coming from. Then that also works. So for you to also, we have a sort whereby, for instance, you have so many requests that has been sent. You can actually filter them either sort by descending or ascending order. So for you to give for you to give authorization, so here is the person coming, caller only, and here are the details, right? So automatically it's going to be pending, right? So you as a host, it's now left for you to say, okay, I want to approve this request, right? Or I want to reject. So let's just say, because I'm aware Kolawole is coming around, I want to approve his request, and then I'm going to be sending this, right? And also the last module is the module that speaks to the admin part, right? So at the end of the day, there is going to be audit that needs to be carried out. They want to be able to know the total number of requests that has happened. I mean, the total number of visits. So from our dashboard, we have a mini dashboard on our request, which simply gives us the total number of visits. And also, as an admin, you can come here to say, okay, I want to filter based on official visit, right? And automatically is going to give us all the visits that are official. If you want to get that of the delivery, you also filter based on them. That of interview also, we actually have that of them. So basically, at the top here, even without, as we all know, admin are not really interested in the raw data. They rather go with like a small dashboard which already gives them like holistic interpretation of what they have in the database. So this already gives us the total number of interview, the total number of official, and also the total number of deliverables, right? So basically that ends the demo as far as visitor management is concerned. So I'm just going to speak about what are the solutions, what are the problems solved with this application. So the first one is record management. So currently most organizations, what they make use of is paper and pen for documentation purpose, which anything can happen to at any point in time. And we regard that as not safe enough. Also, analytics purpose. This it also solves their analytics part of it, which they can easily know the request that Mr. So the number of visitor that actually came for Mr. X, or the number of visitor that came for Mr. Y, and they can also filter down to the type of request, the type of visitor that actually comes to visit. So with that, they can actually streamline how their productivity is. When you see that most of the visitors that are coming are not coming for official purpose, and this kind of host is supposed to be dealing with most official meetings, you know there might be some problem when it comes to productivity. Yeah. So this is just an a brief demo that speaks to a visitor management app. At this point, I'm just going to hand it over. If time permits, we can also talk about another application. But just for us to make sure that everything is being accommodated within the little time, I'm just going to hand over back to Japhlet.
Great.
Japhlet, over to you.
Thank you very much, Kolawole. So, quick question I wanted to ask you just before we bring on the next speaker. How many weeks did it take you to build this solution? How many months did it take you to build this solution?
So, to be honest, this took me less than 2 days.
Okay, great.
Um, yes,
That
and I
for
must
those
say
who are developers, yeah.
it's with other activity, not that focusly on this. So if you are supposed to focus on this, you can build all this within, let's say, 6 hours or 8 hours.
Okay, cool. So more reason why we need everybody to check out the resources that have been shared with you. All of these that has been covered. That resource again, we'll be sharing it with displaying in the screen to check out all the amazing resources we'll have for you. You could do something like this for your organization, instead of having to go through the traditional route of taking days and months to develop an application like this. And most important thing, you have the opportunity to adjust to whatever suits you. Thank you very much, Kolawole, for coming on board to showcase this beautiful solution. So next we have here to also showcase an amazing solution she has built is Rachel. Rachel is a also a Power Platform developer. And interestingly, Rachel is a student here in Nigeria, from the University of Benin. Hi, Rachel. Can you hear me clearly? Sorry, you're muted.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Rachel Rabo. Like Japhlet has said, I'm a student of University of Benin. I'm studying industrial mathematics. Yeah, and I got
Okay.
into power. Is that?
Yeah,
I got
continue. Sorry.
into yeah, I got into Power Platform last year after attending a Power Platform bootcamp, which Japhlet was part of the team, and I started learning about Power Platform in November. Yeah.
Great, great. I'm glad you joined that bootcamp. I'm glad to see all of the amazing solutions you have built. So, what do you have for us today? What solution would you be showcasing for us?
Okay. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, I can see your screen. I'll be pulling that up now.
Okay, I had a issue with electricity, which is light. So I got the opportunity of using Power Platform to solve an issue, to be able to solve a problem that a laundry company was having close to where I live. So I noticed that they were using paper, like paper and biro, to write down the expenses they made in a day, to write down the services they rendered to customers, like the number of clothes that was brought in by a customer, when the customer will collect those clothes, stuff like that. So I said, okay, instead of doing this, and most of the time the people that work there, they keep the books in different places and they have to look for that notes and it might get missing, torn. So they have different disadvantages using that notes. And when it gets filled up, they have to like transfer, they have to buy a new book to be able to record, and their past information, their past data might get missing. So I built an app using Power Apps, which I'm seeing right now. So okay. So this is the home screen of the app. As you can see, so the app, they have like I said from the beginning, they have customer services, and they also record the expenses they made in a day. So I was able to, with the data they had, I was able to work with their data and create an app for them. So you can see the app. Just take it to, can be able to see the information they have, being that the customer's name, phone number, email address. So the app is just working like a notebook, a daily report on what is done each day, and also worked on, like you have most of the time you might just click on mistakenly, you might just click on delete and that data is gone. So instead of, to avoid such things, you have an option to choose that, are you sure you want to delete? So you have the option of clicking on yes or no on your app. And also from that screen, we also have the next screen, which is for daily expenses. So which is to record data for every expenses they have made for each day, either for fuel, either for name of items, the dates, the amounts. And also why they remark is for if they have like a money outside they have to get, maybe a change, stuff like that. So that's the remark. So that's what this is done for. Then you have a data to be able to get that. And if you can notice from this app, it's actually a three screen app. I just duplicated the screens. If you can see it. So I just duplicated the screens from the side. You can see I duplicated my screen. So it was really easy for me to do. I actually did the when I started the app, it was not as twitch as this. So later I worked on it again. When I got better, I worked on it for it to look more better than before. So you can see the way the app is. So that's basically how the app is.
Yeah.
I
So
just
one quick question for you, Rachel.
yeah.
Don't worry, we still need your screen, but one quick question for you. When you showcase this solution to the guys you built it for, how did it help them? How were they feeling? Was it productive? Did it go a long way?
Okay, they're still working on it, on using the app. So I actually told them that they should write a report for me to tell me that how their experiences are, how they because they have now they don't have to write, and the workers in the company they all have the apps on their phone, so they can easily work on that app, and their employer anytime they enter a data on that app, the employer gets a notification that okay, a data has been recorded. It does not have to come back because they have a like a report they write. It asks them that okay, see what how many customers came this week, how much did you get, how much did you earn, stuff like that. Because they also have like a, if you notice from the app, I'm going to show you that. Okay, so if you notice from the app, there's actually a place for attachments where you can actually snap the receipt that was given. You can snap the receipt of the customer and actually add it on the app. So there's no questions that okay, this services was not recorded, there's missing money, stuff like that. So they have many things to avoid. Yeah.
Great. Thanks for showcasing this solution again. It's great to see how a student like you all has been able to make use of Microsoft Power Platform. So be sure to check out all of the resources again we had in the Power Platform track. Thanks for coming on board, Rachel.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see all of the amazing solutions you get to build with Microsoft's Power Platform.
Thank you, Japhlet.
Great. So the next person we'll have who will be showcasing an amazing solution he has also built with Microsoft Power Platform is Somilis Diko. Somilis Diko, I'll leave the introduction for you, Somilis. Hi, Somilis, can you hear me clearly?
Hey, Japhlet. Thank you so much. My name is Someles Adiko, and I am a cloud advocate at Microsoft. Just like Japhlet, we're in the same team and also with Olaruanju. So we focus around the Power Platform on the student audience and showcasing the amazing projects that students all over the globe are actually using the Power Platform to build those solutions. So just right now, I'm seeing two amazing solutions that were built by Rachel and Kola as well, where I saw how they actually use Power Apps to actually build those solutions, and that actually address specific either business um, problems or personal problems that they were facing. So, right here in front of you is a small project that I actually did when I was still a student as well. So obviously, the most experience that we have with the Power Platform, which is common throughout the few speakers that just spoke now, is that we built these projects while we were still students. So what you see on the screen is a project that I built as a student. So a little bit of a background is that my university, or well, my old university where I used to go study at, Durban University of Technology, had a USSD way of checking for either COVID-19 symptoms to keep track of who is infected and who is not infected. So they would run that USSD on their cell phones, and then right after that, it will either present them with multiple sets of questions where they have to answer and specify whether they've been in contact with someone who has COVID-19 or they have had any symptoms. And then right after that would provide three different kinds of certificates in terms of their responses, obviously, either were they infected or were they not infected. So when I was a student, I thought about why are we using USSD and not change it and actually automate the entire process, because at the end of the day, the students needed to have access to university facilities. So they needed permit to actually go into the university. They needed a certificate that was saying that they're not high risk, they're low risk, they do not have COVID-19. So I built this app using Power Apps. And at the time when I was focusing on building this app, I was not really focusing on the big functionality or the back end stuff that were happening in the app, but I was more focusing on the interface, making the user experience for the students within my university be able to use the app without having any problems and have an ease of use app. So they're presented with the screen where it welcomes them on the app. If they haven't used the app before, they'd have to log in using their university email. So they don't have to type it down. But at the end of the day, it will use Azure Active Directory to actually log them into the app using their accounts. And then right after that, they have the home screen. So the home screen, obviously, just like how we saw on the first step that was presented, it actually greets the user and shows their name there, so for a better user experience. And then they presented with four options. One, to look at the symptoms. So around that time, obviously, COVID-19 was still a new thing, and everyone was trying to understand the symptoms around COVID-19 and the safety tips. So I built the app around those specific use cases. So it has symptoms, it has safety tips, and it also has self check. And then also has the history in terms of which certificates have you been having as your history whenever you're trying to access the university facilities. So if a student would come to the app and click on symptoms, for an example, it will take them to the static page where it just shows them the COVID-19 symptoms, like the common ones where people are experiencing them, so that they can be able to have that knowledge and that information and be able to see whether or not do they have COVID-19 or whether or not they need to go test for COVID-19. And then if they want some safety tips, they can click on safety tips right here at the bottom. So I have a navigation bar within the app as well, so that the user experience is better. So if they click on safety tips, it will take them to the safety tips screen where it gives them the common safety tips that were being drilled into us for the past 2 years about COVID-19 to stay safe. So that's how I built the app around safety tips. So again, like I mentioned, the main purpose was me using the already existing or trying to better an already existing system that we had for our university. I think even other universities within the country were using it in South Africa. So students would run that SSD within their phones. So I wanted to automate that and put it into an app. So those are the first few questions that they'll be presented with in terms of where exactly are they going to. So which city is their campus? Because obviously we know university campuses are in different cities. So if a student would put Durban, where I'm currently at, choose the different kinds of campuses that they have, and then obviously we're not tracking students only for COVID-19. We're also tracking the staff. So they will click on student or staff based on that. If they have a medical history, they will choose yes or no, and then they will click on proceed. And then it will take them to the actual self check where they have to answer all the different kinds of questions around the symptoms of COVID-19. So obviously, these are just generic questions about COVID-19 where they select yes or no towards the end, and then they can click on submit. And right after that, once they've submitted the responses around those symptoms, what they can do now is to actually have a certificate that is presented to them or that is generated for them, for an example. So I'm not going to go through that because time is not on our side. So I'll just click on home, and then I'll just go on history to just show you a screen where you can be able to see the different kinds of certificates. So obviously, again, just to stress this, it was around the user experience and user interface for Power Apps, because mostly at the time Power Apps was just known for just doing functionality, and people were not building apps that were looking beautiful and also have proper functionality. But now I know Christine out there on Twitter, I've seen her, she has wonderful solutions, wonderful Power Apps that have great great user interfaces and user experience. So if the student would answer the questions in terms of either maybe they have two yeses and a majority of those questions were no's, then in that case, there would be the risk level would be medium risk. So I wanted to show a bit of warning sign. And then if they said no to all of those questions around COVID-19 symptoms, and then it will present them with a certificate that is saying low risk. So it will be green. So that means you can go to campus. And then if you are high risk, it will give them a visual showing that they're actually high risk. So you can see that small skeleton icon that I added there so that they can be able to take note of what's going on. So that is basically the entire idea around the Power App itself. So in the background, what happens is there's a Power Automate flow that sends an email to the university facilitators or university campus managers where they are looking through on, okay, this student is trying to access the facilities and their status is medium risk or low risk. If they are high risk, then if the student wants to actually access campus for either clinical facilities, because obviously universities have clinical facilities or health facilities, then the university manager has that Power Automate flow running to them, sending them an email with an adaptive card to generate a permit for that student or for that staff member. And then once that permit is generated automatically based off the details of the student or the staff, then it will send an email back to the student so that or the staff so that they can go to campus and present it to the checkpoint or on the checkpoint or on the security guard's gate as well, so that they can be able to get onto campus and then they can get the appropriate treatment that they need to help them to cope with COVID-19. So basically that's it. I don't want to talk too much about this. There's other solutions obviously that we have built, quite a lot of us around the Power Platform and how they actually present functionalities. So Japhlet, back to you. I don't want to talk too much.
Great. Thanks for coming on board to show us this solution. So one quick question for you, just before I let you go. What has been the impact of this solution, for your university? Did you reduce the rate of COVID-19? Tell us. We'd love to hear.
Okay, so in terms of impact, this started off as a personal project, obviously, but then again, I presented it to my university to see how they can actually use it. So, in terms of impact, I can say to you that it has been quite difficult for students to find the USSD code to run on their phones. So, most of the time, they'd have to either ask their friends for a link to the either to the USSD code itself, or they have to ask their friends to actually get the USSD code, which was not really plausible for the students to be able to access the campus. Like for an example, if they need something urgently from campus, they won't be able to go into campus up until they have that USSD running on their phone. But with the Power App that I built, it was so much easier to actually distribute the app to all of the students, because when you share a Power App, obviously it's standard procedure. What happens is you can share it with a few people or you can share it with everyone within your organization or your company. So what I did was advise within the university to actually share the app with everyone. Either they can receive an email about where the app is, or they can have Power Apps mobile on their phone so that they can easily access the app on their phones. So that's what they did. Either they accessed it from their emails or they use Power Apps mobile to actually access the app. And then they've been able to use and run this application on their phones so that they can be able to generate health certificates, because most of the time, even the visuals that were presented from the USSD code itself, they were not really suggesting that the person is safe to enter the campus. So with this app, when they present this screen that I showed you just now, it actually showed them that, okay, without needing to actually look at the status itself or the words of the status, if I see green, that means a person can go onto campus. If I see red, then that means a person shouldn't go to campus unless they have a permit to actually enter campus to use only the health facilities and nothing else. You're on mute, Japhlet.
Yeah, sorry. So thanks again for coming, Somilis. It's actually, great to see the difference that Microsoft Power Platform, a Microsoft Power Platform solution can have on an existing system. So for all the students joining this live stream, think of an opportunity, think of a problem either within your local environment or facing your university, and be sure to build a solution surrounding it. If you need our help at any point in time, please be sure to reach out to somebody's, reach out to Rachel, or reach out to Kolawale, and they'll be glad to help. Or myself, Olaya Wanjo, and other Power Platform developers, they will be sure to help you out. But it doesn't end here. We have lots of amazing resources in for you all. Again, we're close to the end of the 30 days of learning. But if you haven't yet, be sure to jump on it, register for it using the link that's currently displaying in the screen, and so you don't miss the remaining part of it. Tomorrow, we are going to show you all how to pick up these solutions that we have built and then showcase it on GitHub. So if you have a GitHub profile, you can actually showcase it and people could see the amazing solution that you have built. So be sure to join that session same time tomorrow. And the links will be shared on our social media handles, or if you are registered in the Discord server, you will get the link to that session too. Beginning Wednesday, you all participants of the 30 days of learning in the Power Platform track will have the opportunity of working on projects. So these projects are an opportunity for you to test out all you have been learning for the past few weeks. So be sure to get ready for the project phase, where we would be guiding you all on how to build real world solutions without having to write any single line of code. Another thing I would love to share with you all is that you could also have access to amazing resources. So we have the Student Learn Hub at Microsoft, and the Student Learn Hub is a place where you can have access to resources that we have created for you, both from our end as cloud advocates and also for others at Microsoft. I've created these resources because we want them to be beneficial to you all. So be sure to check these resources out. We're pasting them in the chat and it should be displaying in the screen any moment. You can also see it on the slide, ak.ms slash student learn hub. Aside that too, also remember that you can win a Microsoft certification exam voucher for free when you participate as a student in the 30 days of learning program. These are the amazing resources we have in store for you all. Again, our goal as cloud advocates at Microsoft in the next generation experiences team is to help you all as students to grow and attain the necessary skills you need to build solutions. At this point, I want to say thank you to everybody. See you tomorrow. I'll be passing it on to Olara Wanju now to continue from here.
Hi, Japhlet, and hi, everyone. Thanks for being part of this session. Personally, I've learned quite a lot, and I know Japhlet, led a powerful session. And thanks to all our speakers who were here to showcase their solutions. So this is not just something in the air; it's something we can see how it's being applied in our organization. And as Japhlet has rightly said, please keep learning, keep growing. Follow the links that have been shared with you, and it is not a bye-bye. It is see you soon, because we'll definitely see you here again and again. Thanks, everyone, and peace out. Bye.